Welcome back to the Growth Over Goals podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery, and today is part 2 of a 2-part series on mentorship. Last episode, we talked about following well in mentorship settings. That is when you are the one being taught, when you're learning, when you're growing. I hope that is the case with all of us, that we are following well, because if you're too big to follow, you are too small to lead. So we never graduate from following. But today we're going to talk about frameworks for leading well in mentorship settings. So when you are in charge of the meeting, when it's your time to coach or lead or teach, we're going to talk about frameworks to make sure that you get the most out of that mentorship setting. I want to revisit following well before we talk about leading well in mentorship settings from last episode's 3 frameworks that we talked about when it comes to following well. Number 1, we're going to own the meeting. Great leaders go to the meeting before it starts. Mentally, if you're the one being taught, you're the mentee, you're following, make sure you own the meeting. That is, you show up well prepared. We're not going to take over the meeting, but we are going to own the meeting. I'm going to have questions to ask, information to share. Go to the meeting before it starts and show up well prepared. My friend John Maxwell said, the way that you prepare shows how much you care. It's not that you just get the most out of the meeting, but you also honor the person teaching the meeting. Number 2, we're going to ask for help and admit our struggle. You will get help to the extent that you ask for help, but you will also earn favor with the person teaching you, mentoring you, leading you when you ask for help. A reason for this, the Franklin effect. The Franklin effect is a psychological phenomenon in which people like someone more after doing a favor for them. Again, you're going to get more out of the meeting. You're going to earn favor with the person leading the meeting or mentoring you. Final thought on following well, show your work. Circle back to the person teaching you. Say, hey, from the last meeting, you gave me this feedback. Here's what I'm doing with it. Hey, the last time we got together, you issued me this challenge. Here's how I'm following up on that. Here's the action that I'm taking. You're saying to that person, I'm someone worth investing in because I'm taking action on the things that you've taught me. So again, last episode, we focused on following well. Today, we're focused on 3 frameworks for leading well in mentorship settings. Again, this applies to when you're leading somebody one-on-one or one-to-many. First framework, your time, not mine. As a coach, I find myself saying this to coaching clients all the time. Hey, this is your time, not mine. What am I saying? I'm saying, I want you to show up prepared. I want you to come with questions. I want you to come with thoughts. I've never been accused of not having something to say, but I want to make sure we're addressing the topics, the issues, and the challenges that are most important in your world or your life. It is easier to do this if this is a one-on-one meeting. A little bit harder to do it if you've got multiple people in one meeting. It's also harder to do it if you're presenting, the audience gets bigger, but I want you to still focus on the audience. What do they need? What are they thinking about? What are they struggling with? This is a great way to remind them we should be talking about the things that are most relevant to you. Now, as the leader, you still get to veto the meeting. Maybe in a corporate setting, you have a brand new person and they want to talk about something that does not matter. Well, you can veto that and say, hey, we could get to that at some point. However, I don't think that is most important for the purposes of today's conversation or meeting. So you still have the opportunity or the ability to veto what's on their agenda. You just want to make sure you're giving them a chance to create an agenda. Train your people. Show up to the meeting prepared. How do I do that? I remind them, this is your time and not mine. And I'll find myself saying that to people over and over and over again as we kick off a meeting. Hey, this is your time, not mine. What's on your agenda today? What are you thinking about? Again, I always have a plan. I'm well prepared myself. I've never been accused of not having something to say. I just want to give that person a chance to fill me in on what's going on in their world and in their mind. Your time, not mine. Number 2, always teach as a fellow learner. John Maxwell reminded me of this. I always want to teach from a place of humility. I don't have this all figured out. I'm not way ahead of you. I'm actually right beside you. I'm learning with you. I'm growing with you. I'm running with you. People are so much more likely to receive when you don't come across as though you have all of the answers. What's the practical application of that? Put this in your notes. Leadership is more about asking questions than it is giving answers. In other words, people don't retain truth when you dump it. They retain truth when they discover it. Allow them to discover. You might ask questions like, hey, I know that didn't go well last time. How would you do it differently next time? Hey, I understand that you didn't complete the project the way that you wanted to. If you were to do that project over again, what would you change? Instead of just giving someone the answer, allow them to be a part of that discovery process. What would you do differently? What did you learn? How would you do it next time? Ask questions, and remember that leadership is more about asking questions than giving answers. Again, it's not to excuse that I don't have answers, or I didn't show up with answers, or I'm not ready to answer questions. I'm just making sure I give them a chance to learn on their own before I give them an answer. I want to teach from a place of humility. Number 3, what am I missing? One of the most powerful questions that we could ask when we're leading a meeting, when we're running the meeting, I always want to assume that I'm missing something. There's something on the agenda that I did not get to. There's something maybe I should have covered that I didn't cover. There's a question that somebody has that they want to ask that I don't know about. And what am I missing is a very different question than, am I missing anything? So at the end of every meeting with my one-on-one coaching clients, I'm always asking the questions, what am I missing? What did we not get to today? What did we not cover that you want to cover? What do you want me to be thinking about for next time? Again, I always want to assume that I'm missing something. Too many leaders, myself included, just assume that we covered everything. We assume that we know everything. I know how my people are feeling. I know what they're thinking. I know we got to everything, when the reality is almost always the person I'm leading or teaching has something they want to ask, say, or share that we did not get to. I'll only know that if I ask the question, what am I missing? So again, 3 frameworks for leading well in mentorship settings, whether you're working with people one-on-one or you're one-to-many. It's your time, not mine. I want you to show up prepared. I want to remind you that your agenda is important. My one expectation is that you would come to meetings prepared, because here's what I know. We will get more out of this meeting if we're talking about the challenges, the issues, and the opportunities that are most relevant to you. I have the ability to veto the agenda based on what I know. If you bring something really silly to the table, I might suggest that we talk about that later or not talk about that at all. And I've also never been accused of not having something to say. This isn't I show up unprepared as a leader. It's just saying your time, not mine. I want to create space for the things that are on your mind and on your agenda. Number 2, I always want to teach as a fellow learner. What do we know about leadership? Leadership is more about asking questions than it is about giving answers. Allow people to be a part of the learning process, the discovery process, because people retain truth when they discover it, not when you dump it. Number 3, final framework for leading well in mentorship settings. What am I missing? I always want to assume at the end of a meeting, at the end of a conversation, at the end of an interaction, there's something we did not get to. What am I missing is a very different conversation than am I missing anything? What am I missing that we didn't cover? What am I missing that you want to know more about? What did we not get to today that we should have spent time on? It's one of the best leadership questions you could ask. What am I missing? I hope today was helpful to you. I don't know where this finds you on your leadership journey. Maybe you feel like you're leading just 2 people. Maybe you're leading 200 people. Maybe you're leading way more than that. But the reality is we're always leading. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, says my dear friend John Maxwell, which means if you have influence, you are a leader. And I think it's incumbent upon us to get the most out of mentorship sessions when we're leading and when we're following. This has been another episode of the Growth Over Goals podcast. I'm so thankful to our producers behind the scenes, John Choate at Storyline Multimedia, that makes these episodes go. If you found any value in today's conversation, would you share it with a friend? Would you help us move our mission of impact forward by reaching more people with a message about personal development, leadership, and growth? God bless you. Have an amazing day.